What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. So, in this episode, we're going to discuss Better Call Saul and those opening sequences for each season. You know, each season starts with a black and white scene that's set in the future in respect to Better Call Saul. The black and white scenes take place after Breaking Bad, whereas the rest of Better Call Saul takes place before Breaking Bad. So we kind of get a glimpse of Jimmy/Saul in both timelines of post Breaking Bad and pre Breaking Bad, because we've already seen how Breaking Bad plays out for Saul, right? So we're just going to talk about those scenes and how they connect to our two main characters of Better Call Saul, which would be Jimmy/Saul and Mike Ehrmantraut. Those of you who don't know, that's Jonathan Banks' character, who was Gus Fring's enforcer or whatever from Breaking Bad. So those are our two main characters, who we basically follow Jimmy and all of his characters surrounding him, and Mike and all of his characters surrounding him. And then I'm sure at some point they're really going to come together full circle. They haven't really done that yet. All right, enough rambling on. All right, so in season 1, that first opening scene, we have Saul playing out what he tells Walt is his best case scenario. Him being the manager of a Cinnabon in Omaha, and that's what we see. We see him going through his daily routine. I'm sure it's the same thing every single day. Very mundane, very repetitive, very boring for Saul. And you see that all throughout his face. Those opening scenes are amazing because there's little to no dialogue in any of them. And the way Bob Odenkirk, projects everything you need to know in those scenes through his face alone, absolutely amazing. He's such a good actor, so underrated, and he was underused in Breaking Bad. Were his scenes great? Absolutely. Every scene Saul is in Breaking Bad is a great scene. But he's underused once you see Better Call Saul and you see how well his scenes are acted. Amazing. Anyway, so we get him going through his mundane life. Like I said, you could tell he's bored. The only enjoyment he seems to get from his day, and it's, I'm sure, slight enjoyment, is when he goes home, he makes himself a rusty nail. I'm pretty sure that's the drink he makes. And he sits down watching his old commercials, reflecting and remembering on his life before Walter White came into it. Basically, how he got to the point where he was the type of criminal lawyer, as Jesse calls him, to where he even takes on a client like Walt and gets tangled up in that whole mess. Alright, so how does that connect to season 1 story arc? Well, to Jimmy, it connects simply by Jimmy's a con man who lived an exciting life of con after con and what's going to happen next and who's going to wake up in his bed tomorrow and all these great scenes that we see play out through his flashback to where his life was exciting. But after his incarceration and Chuck gets him out, he decides he wants to go straight. So he lives the life on the other side of the law, being a lawyer, trying to stay away from being Slippin' Jimmy or Saul Goodman, trying to stay away from that con man life. But he realizes he doesn't like the life that a low-budget lawyer like himself is leading, where he's basically living like a bum in the back of some hair salon, driving a nail salon, driving a piece of shit car, working for pennies, this and that. So you see that connection right there, where he's not happy living this mundane, repetitive life, where every day it's public service stuff and it's dealing with the salon and the car and Chuck and Howard and that whole thing. So it's really a life he doesn't want to live, and he can't stand living it. When does he get joy? You see it every time they show a flashback of Slippin' Jimmy doing a con, or present day Jimmy figuring out a con or a way to cheat or to cut corners, a way to kind of try to ease Slippin' Jimmy back into his life somehow. That's the only time he seems to be happy or optimistic or upbeat in the show, is when he's trying to pull off these types of schemes and scams. Even if they're small and they're not on the bigger Slippin' Jimmy or Saul Goodman level, they're still fun for him because it's what he enjoys. It's what he's good at. It's where his skills can be applied, right? And it's the same thing for Mike. Where do we see Mike? Season 1, working at that toll booth, the parking garage or whatever, right? A mundane, boring life, reading his book, staking out his daughter-in-law and his granddaughter. It's just boring, unhappy, repetitive stuff, right? And what does Mike do? He tries to find some excitement. He was a crooked cop. He says it. He was a corrupt cop, Mike. So he wants to, that's where I guess his skills are useful. And he's not happy being a criminal or living that life, but he's happy where? He's happiest with his granddaughter or looking after his son's widow. So he's really trying to use his skills to make enough money so that he can, take care of his grandchild. It's not so much about him looking for the excitement of his old life. It's more about him not wasting his skills at a parking garage. So Jimmy, it's about wasting his skills as a con man. It is. But it's more about, I want the excitement back. I want that life back. Whereas Mike, it's, I want a good life for my family. And in order to do that, I need to use my skills that I've acquired through years of being a police officer. But I can't do that in any way other than getting tied up in a life of crime. So Mike's decision is basically, I'm going to use my skills to be the guy that I don't want to be. Where Jimmy wants to be the guy he wants to be, but also wants to be the legit guy. Jimmy wants to have his cake and eat it too. Whereas Mike kind of just wants to earn enough cake to pass along to his family, if that makes any sense to you. So that's how we tie up season 1. Season 2, I'll try to make this a little bit briefer. I know I rambled on a little bit in that one. So season 2's opening sequence finds Jimmy, Saul, or Gene, we should call him in those scenes, because that's the name he's using in his witness protection program, so to speak, right? So he locks himself in that garbage room there, the storage room, whatever it is. And the only way out is to go out of a door that says, never use this door, emergency exit. He knows if he uses it, an alarm is going to go off, cops, ambulance, whatever, whoever, fireman, whoever's going to come. And he could possibly get his cover blown, right? So instead of using that door, he decides to basically sit there and wait it out. So it's really about Gene, Jimmy, Saul, so many names, right? Being trapped in a situation. And the only way out is to possibly put himself out there in a way he doesn't want to. So season 2, we'll start with Jimmy, then we'll move to Mike. So we have Jimmy trapped in this situation of legitimateness, because now he's working for, what is it? Maine, something in Maine. I forget. But he's working for that other law firm, in-house lawyer, has an office, and I'm sure he makes a salary, and they get him anything he wants, any desk he wants, and paintings and cars and apartments and everything a man could want or a person could want, they give it to him, the law firm. But he feels trapped because they won't let him operate the way that Jimmy successfully operates. And how does Jimmy successfully operate? Not to say he's not a good lawyer, but Jimmy's way is to cut corners or to do things that most people, most lawyers, whoever, may look at as unethical or, just not the kosher way of doing business. And most law firms don't want to associate with somebody who's going to do things unethically or to break any rule book, whether it be the law or the code of ethics that lawyers have to follow. So you have Jimmy trapped in this situation where he feels trapped. He feels handcuffed. Like he can't do things the way he knows he can get them done. Like the way he found out about, the whole nursing home, debacle and that all that under the carpet stuff. So that's how it ties in. You have Gene trapped in the storage room, and you have Jimmy trapped in this legitimate life where he wants to break out. And now in the Gene scene, the only way to break out is to go to the emergency exit, which would get him in trouble, possibly. So Saul, his way out, Jimmy's way out of the law firm is to do some dirt. He does the commercial thing, and he basically got himself kicked out. He did it on purpose. No matter what they say, he didn't want to be in there. He was unhappy in there. So you see how they both correlate. Now, they both make totally different decisions, where in the Gene scene, he decides not to go through the door and to sit and wait it out and be miserable, whereas Jimmy says, you know what, fuck it, I'm going for it. And, bad things happen because of it, but not in his eyes. In his eyes, it's good things that he got fired, right? All right, now Mike's scene. Now Mike got hooked up with the bad guys from season 1. So now Mike is trapped in this situation where now he's entangled in this world of crime, and he doesn't want to be entangled. He just wanted to make some quick money. Now he's entangled in this whole cartel drug thing, and he's trapped there. He tries to get out. He tries to take different routes where he tries not to kill somebody or not to use excessive violence. And he tries to take, like the scene where he makes Tuco beat the piss out of him. He was trying to find a way out that wasn't the criminal way. He wasn't trying to kill anybody or shoot anybody like the way Nacho wanted him to, right? He was just trying to do it the most legitimate way he can. So now he's trapped in this situation also, where he can't get out. And instead of sitting there and waiting it out like the way Gene does in the black and white scene, Mike is actually going to actively get rid of the person keeping him in this. So by the end of it, he says, fuck it, I'm going to kill Hector. I'm going to go out that door, and I'm going to kill Hector, and I'm going to deal with the repercussions. But lucky for him, maybe, somebody, we all know it's Gus, drops a note and stops him from doing it. So that's how season 2 ties in, to where both characters feel trapped, like there's no way out of the situation that they're in. But they still go out the only door they see, which may not be the door that they want to or they should take. Now, season 3, we'll touch on that one even quicker, because this one is pure speculation, because we only have one episode of season 3 to go by. So this one is total speculation on my part. We have Gene on his lunch break. He sees the kid stealing. The kid hides. He rats the kid out. Then he has second thoughts, tells the kid not to talk without a lawyer. And then I guess the whole guilt of it, or the whole panic of it, or oh my God, am I going to get caught? What did I just do? Or what am I doing to myself? You don't really know what's going on in Jimmy's head 100% at that moment. Gene's head, sorry. I know I'm confusing you with all these names. But you get the sense that he's having like a panic attack after what he just did, kind of putting himself out there and getting somebody in trouble who's not much different than I'm sure he was at that age, right? And then he passes out. Okay. And it was funny how the shit globs on his head after. All right. So how does that tie into what I think is going to happen in season 3? Well, I think both characters of Jimmy and Mike are going to get into a situation where they have to make a choice. And that choice is either going to be the person who I want to be. In Jimmy's situation, it will be being the con man. In Mike's, it would be being the good guy. So they're going to get into a situation where it's, do I be who I want to be, either the con man or the good guy, or do I be the opposite of that? So instead of Jimmy being the con man, it would be, would he do the right thing and go straight? Or in Mike's situation, it would be, do I go the bad way? Now, it might not be as clean cut as that, and it might be Jimmy's might have to do something with Chuck, and Mike's might have something to do with Gus or his granddaughter or whatever. But I think that's going to be the basis of this season, is going to be Jimmy and Mike having to make a choice and then regretting making that choice, so them trying to flip it over, like how Gene tries to tell the kid to get a lawyer. And then, of course, them regretting their situation. If you look at the way Breaking Bad was structured, season 1 was all set up. Season 2 was getting really into the excitement of it, like building the tension more. And then 3 was really the play out of that tense. 3 was the most tense as far as the strain between Walt and Jesse. And I feel like season 3 is going to be like that too. We're going to get the most strain. It's going to be the darker of the 3 seasons, where we're going to get the most strain on the relationships of the characters. Bad things are going to happen between Jimmy and Kim, I think. Bad things between Jimmy and Chuck. Bad things between Jimmy and Howard, and so on and so forth. And the same thing with Mike. But I think Mike, it's going to be a lot of good things happening because of bad things he's doing. So it's going to be kind of the opposite. Jimmy's going to have bad effects on being the guy he wants to be. He wants to be the con man, he's going to be that con man. And then he's going to second guess it, and bad things are going to happen. Whereas Mike is going to want to be the good guy, and he's going to end up being the bad guy instead. And good things are going to happen for Mike. That's how I feel that's going to play out. All right, this video went on way too longer. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope you got what I was trying to say. Is how those black and white scenes really kind of tell you, they dictate how the season is going to play out and what the main theme of the major characters is going to be throughout the seasons. I love Vince Gilligan's writing style. I love anyone's writing style who goes into deep thought and really dissects scenes and dialogue and titles of episodes and all of that to really craft this story where all the pieces fit. It's really a puzzle where every piece has a place to fit. Every piece has a purpose. No piece is useless. You pour out a puzzle, you need every piece from that puzzle to really get the beautiful full picture. And that's Vince Gilligan, many other writers too, but we're talking about Vince Gilligan here. That's his writing style, is I'm going to give you all these pieces to the puzzle, and by the time we're all said and done and you get all the pieces together, it's going to make one giant, beautiful picture that works and makes sense. All right, that's it. You can see my love for this type of shit. You guys got anything you want to say? Chime in down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I know I'm redundant in saying that, and it's not me begging or pleading, but if you want me to be able to keep doing this, and you want me to get better, and you want me to grow, and you like the content you're seeing, and you want more of it, the best way to do that is to get me out there more, to help me get more views, likes, and subscriptions. So how can you do that for me? Is you can share, you can like, you can subscribe, and you can tell your friends about it, and then they'll tell their friends, and so on and so on, and then we can start to build something bigger to where maybe I can get rid of a job and do this full time for you guys, and we can all have fun together. I love doing this. I've been doing it for a short period of time, and I really love it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm glad that some of you are sticking with me, and I really appreciate that, whether this is a short-term thing or a long-term thing. Blah. All right, thanks so much for watching. That's it for this video. There's going to be tons more coming, especially Better Call Saul videos, so keep your eye out for that. Yep, thanks again for watching. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.